PMI likes key performance indicators, or KPIs. You'll see these mentioned in the ECO. A KPI is a quantifiable measure used to evaluate how effective we are at achieving key business objectives. Quantifiable means that we're talking numbers, inherently absolute numbers, like $3, versus numbers that have subjectivity involved. If the cuteness scale goes from 1 to 10, my dog is an 11. So give that cute dog a treat, but give me inherently absolute numbers, give me quantifiable measures for my KPIs. And what's an objective? Well, you could think of an objective as a goal. Here and there we have a bunch, or actually here and there we've been touching on the importance of a shared future-focused vision, and that's great, but it's very far away, and it tells us the where, as in where we want to be. By setting attainable objectives along the way, we could actually come up with the how, as in how will we actually get there. Now, to determine, did we get there? Did we hit our objective? We can answer that question with, you guessed it, KPIs. KPIs are quantifiable, even if it's a simple binary yes or no. A great way to quantify things is to use measurement, just like when we'd lean up against the wall, mark our height on the wall, and look at how much we'd grown. We measure because we care about something. And are we measuring in doggy-sized potholes in the ground? Probably not. We need to figure out what metrics make sense for our context. A metric is a measurement or a calculation. Here's a metric. Well, 3 means nothing to us. It's just a number. A metric, we're missing the context though. Indicators give us that context in that they're used to help us assess and manage something. So now I have a clearer picture, but is 3 meals a day good? Is it bad? Well, it doesn't even say a day, right? And could I see the trend, right? Is it 3 and rising? I still don't know what 3 meals actually means to me. That's where key performance indicators come in. KPIs help us to evaluate our success, and that would be our success in meeting an objective by setting a target and helping us spot a good trend from a bad one. Aha! So this one is more like it. So, okay, now that we have more info, I need to stop talking to you and let Theodore know that this KPI is incompatible with the goals that cascade down to me from his higher authority, his veterinarian, who cautions us that he should weigh about 6.5 pounds, plus or minus a couple ounces. And the trend should be pretty steady, right? I want to just keep weighing him and he should be right about that area. I don't want to see it on the rise, and I definitely don't want to see it, he definitely doesn't want to see it go too far down either. Just as it's not prudent for Theodore to give us this KPI without considering the whole cascade, it's not going to be prudent for you to set KPIs for your team members without thinking of the wider context. So here's a little diagram I made to show you how all the dots connect, right? Business success, portfolio success, program success, project team success, project team member success, and then your project team member could afford all the most fancy treats for their pets. As stated in the PMBOK V7, KPIs are quantifiable measures. We express them as a quantity. When we do a quantitative assessment, we're looking at inherently absolute numbers. So we're taking measurements or calculations, like using the counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? As a means to measure the number of meals for Theodore. We could literally see and count how many meals he has. This is not open to subjectivity. These are inherently absolute numbers. All this is great, and it's what PMI wants us all to focus on as a bullet point in that ECO, but I also want to open up a little can of worms called, I guess we also need to talk about qualitative assessments too. Why? Because you want balanced bundles of metrics. You don't just want this numbers game. You also want to hear about that more subjective side. So you could round out and get this fuller picture as to how you're doing. Balancing your metrics also means that you're not accidentally influencing unwanted behavior. If all you care about is the amount of time I spend on a task, well, I could get it done real quick for you and hit those numbers, but my work output might be crapola. So you want to measure what matters and make sure you know that if you're trying to, or actually, if you're tying the numbers to performance reviews, then people are going to hit the numbers even if it breaks your project. So balance out those quantitative assessments, and I'm going to make a case for actually balancing your bundle with qualitative assessments as well. So though this intro that I'm doing to the KPIs here is meant to be foundational before we get to that ECO item 1.3.1, appraise team members' performance, actually appraise team member, singular, performance against key performance indicators. So that's a numbers game, but we want to, in real life, consider the qualitative assessments. So that means we're thinking of things that relate to behaviors and perspectives and feelings, opinions, and there's some subjectivity mixed in there. There's something called the watermelon effect. And this is what happens when we're just looking at the numbers and everything looks green, but the client is dissatisfied and getting even more dissatisfied because now you're cartwheeling around pointing at your green indicators, hence the watermelon green on the outside, red on the inside. Jim from the office said, Jan is about to have a baby with a sperm donor, and Michael is preparing for the birth of a watermelon with Dwight. Now this baby will be related to Michael through delusion. And why am I telling you this? Well, it's an easy way to remember. Do you want the bundle of joy, a little baby, or do you want Dwight's watermelon? And by the way, it was a greasy watermelon. Andy oiled it on up. We want the bundle of joy. We want the balanced bundle of metrics. And maybe you could quantify some of the items that I'll talk about. Yeah, go ahead if you can easily, right? Especially if it's easy. If there's that hard yes or no line, yeah, great. Now you just quantified it into a binary. But for where it gets trickier, just embrace those qualitative assessments. I showed you the attributes that top teams have based on Glassdoor's research. So how do I assess a team member keeping this in mind, right? Is my team member showing up with these qualities? Or is the team as a whole showing up with these qualities? On page 22 of the PMBOK 7, PMI lists the factors associated with high-performing teams. As a leader, I for sure want to know if my team and my team members embody these factors. So they list out open communication, shared understanding, shared ownership, trust, collaboration, adaptability, resilience, empowerment, and recognition. So that's my intro to KPIs, which are, of course, quantitative, but I sprinkled in a case for mixing in some of that qualitative assessment as well. I hope you like this. I'll make another video to address how KPIs cascade, meaning we have KPIs at the organizational level, portfolio level, project level, team level, then individual team member level. And then you go home and you see how your dog is doing. KPIs cascade down, reporting cascades up. We're always connecting the dots, looking at the wider context and then zooming in into a smaller context. And there are other aspects of KPIs that I'll get into in future videos as well. But in this one, I wanted to give you a taste as to what KPIs are all about. So you'll have a good foundation, a good fun foundation in place. So as we go through all those yet to come ECO items, you'll be ready for them. Well, I think this might have been my favorite video I made yet. Let me know what you think.